I'm sure most of you already know the topic. Nick Walker recently talked about what he thinks was his best ever physique. He had 3 or 4 versions on his short list, but let's take a quick look at what he said and then break it down.
So what do you feel your best looks ever were?
So I when it comes to look for shows, I truly believe my favorite looks, which I think are my best looks, were the 2021 Arnold Classic. I just thought that, for me, that was my number one. I was dry, hard, very grainy, and full. It was like, as soon as I walked out for that show, lights out. I just game over. As soon as I walked out, everyone knew, oh, that's it. And I just thought the peak was perfected. Everything was nails for that specific show. And I would say my second favorite was probably the Olympia 2022. I don't think I was as conditioned, per se, as the 2020 Olympia, or the 2021 Arnold, I'm sorry. But I was very lean enough, where I was so fucking full. Like, it was just like, it was an undeniable type of full, but still very dry. You know what I mean? And then I actually really did like my Arnold look that I lost to Samson. That was probably my leanest and driest. I still think I was full, to me, just maybe not as full as I normally am, which is why it didn't seem like I had like that Mick Walker pop. But I was still pretty full, but I was just so fucking lean for that, dude. It was insanity. And when people, I guess, hear that I didn't like the Pittsburgh look, I didn't like it because I didn't think it was my best. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can bring. And that look was good, don't get me wrong, but I could have been leaner. I could have been drier. I could have been harder. And I also probably could have been a little fuller, which is why I think we kind of lost it at night, because we faded pretty hard, in my opinion. So that's just the way I look at it.
You heard it. Nick thinks his best ever physique was probably his 2021 Arnold Classic, followed by his 2022 Olympia look. He also gave props to his 2023 Arnold version, but kind of downgraded his 2025 Pittsburgh Pro showing. Now, we all know the drama with his ex-coach Kyle, and yeah, Nick's not exactly admitting that he peaked with the guy back in Pittsburgh, but I digress. The truth is, I actually agree that one of these 4 versions was his best ever, and with all the buzz about this topic lately, I figured it's time to finally make this video. So today we're comparing Nick Walker's top 4 physiques to decide once and for all when Nick was at his absolute best, coming from his biggest fanboy. Front double biceps, and everyone is probably looking at the same freaking thing right now, the midsection. It's gotten worse every time. Back in 2021, it was the most defined, but then at the 2022 Olympia, he had this different approach with extra crouching down, which looked awesome. Then in the 2023 Arnold and 2025 Pittsburgh, he chose a more relaxed way to hold his stomach. Still looking good, but I prefer the first 2 options, of course. Another thing that seems to have progressively gotten worse every year is the size of his guns, actually. Now, he still has the best arms in the world, but they seem slightly smaller every time from left to right here. One of the reasons is probably the fact that the rest of his torso has gotten bigger and bigger, while I suppose he didn't push it with the arms, since he didn't need to too much, I don't know. But there's one crucial thing that has improved from iteration to iteration, and that's the size of his legs. Now, just like Nick himself, I see many people praising the 2021 Arnold version as Nick's best ever, and I could agree with that, but to an extent. His lower body was noticeably weaker back in 2021, both from the front and from the back, as we're about to see later. Considering that his leg size is so important for him due to his proportions, being upper body heavy, he needs the leg size. So I can't consider 2021 as his best in this pose if we're talking strictly upper body for sure, but overall, it's a no from me. Personally, I've always liked his 2022 version, but his legs, though improved since 2021, were still not big enough. I don't know how, but at the 2023 Arnold, his quad sweeps actually looked the best. And that was only 2 months after the 2022 Olympia, so it's gotta be camera angles and stuff, I don't know. Pittsburgh looks pretty legit, but his waist is definitely the widest and his abs the softest. So in the end, it's between 2022 Olympia and 2023 Arnold for me. Given the way his legs look in this shot at the 2023 Arnold, based solely on these shots we have right here, That would be the winner, closely followed by 2022 Olympia. Front lat spread is next, his weakest pose by far. Having pretty narrow shoulders, a wide waist, a long torso, short limbs with thick arms, and thinner legs is simply everything worse with this pose, honestly. And as we can notice, he's been struggling to find the right way to hit the pose. Lately, I think he found the best way for him to hold this pose. The 2025 Pittsburgh execution is surely the most optimal way for his proportions. On the other hand, the 2021 Arnold fans will dislike me for this, but I believe he looks the worst there. However, I'm noticing a detail about how he's holding the legs. His quads are the smallest there, but he's pulling out a Derek Lunsford, showcasing his abductors, and makes the illusion of bigger legs. Maybe he should try it out again, especially now since his legs are actually bigger anyway. Side chest is next, and ironically and unexpectedly, his hamstring drop looks the best at the 2021 Arnold Classic in these shots right here, and that definitely couldn't be the case. So this way we figure out how important the angles and everything are and how much reality may be distorted. Anyway, his lower body from the side looks pretty consistent, but what I'm noticing is that in the upper body he was bigger and fuller in the first two versions, 2021 and 2022. Now, Nick Walker has a thick and round upper body, but his chest was always on the flatter side. His chest looks a bit fuller in 2021 and 2022 compared to the other two versions, so it becomes crucial since it's actually a weak point. So I'd go with one of the two versions, and since 2022 has an even extra level of fullness, I think I'd go with that first, but 2021 is pretty legit too. Back double biceps, and the first thing that jumps to my eyes here is the lower body difference between 2021 and the rest of his physiques. He definitely did something between 2021 and 2022 with those hamstrings because the progress is more than obvious. See guys, that's why I'm always reserved in declaring that 2021 version as his best ever. I understand that when it comes to the upper body and the midsection, he was actually at his best, but the lower body is the key. So here I wouldn't even stress about the upper body. His lower body in 2021 puts that straight in last place. I would actually say that 2022 is the second weakest when it comes to the lower body, even though progress in just 2 months until the Arnold is a bit of a stretch. But he was indeed drier at the Arnold, so it would be understandable why his hamstrings came alive like that. So when it comes to the back double biceps, I would have it between 2023 Arnold and 2025 Pittsburgh. His back seems a bit harder and more defined in Pittsburgh, so I'd choose this version as the winner in this pose overall. Back lat spread is next, and we can see that in this other lat spread pose, he's been trying different executions as well. In 2022, he somehow tried to open up more vertically, if that makes sense. And then since the 2023 Arnold, he's been having a better stance. Clearly, his back looks the best at the 2025 Pittsburgh Pro and the worst at the 2021 Arnold Classic. So in this pose, he looks like he made improvements every time. Now, a lot of 2021 Arnold fans will get upset with me, but that version is simply not competitive from the back. Abs alone cannot be enough. Overall, the version in Pittsburgh wins both back poses. Nothing unexpected for me, honestly. Side triceps, and it looks like every time he's doing something wrong in this pose, which should actually be one of his strongest, given his attributes. In 2021, the Dorian-esque stance didn't fit him, but his quads looked kinda crazy there. 2022 probably looks the best overall, but he's leaning a bit awkwardly to the front. 2023 Arnold would actually be the best, but he switched a bit too much to the front, I think, and in Pittsburgh, he lost control of his abs, which is strictly forbidden, especially for him. 2022 looks pretty solid, but his side leg somehow looks the weakest. I think I would go with one of the two Arnolds here. Even though I'm a fan of the Dorian-esque execution, I don't think it fits him that well, so I would go with 2023 in the end. abs and thighs, and even though his waist was the tightest in 2021, he managed to find a way to suck up his intercostals and lateral muscles in 2025 that makes his midsection smaller. It's a good trick. I've noticed what he's doing and it's great as long as he can hold it. I know Big Ramy could pull off something similar, however, I cannot ignore the fact that his abs were so much more defined back in 2021. If his midsection looked like that now, he would be so dangerous. Now for the 2022 Olympia we have this odd angle, but something was off with his pose at that show. He tried something different. In some poses I liked his extra crouched abs, but here it's not that good. Upper body I would go with the 2021 version in a second, but overall it's gotta be between the 2023 Arnold and 2025 Pittsburgh. Knowing that in Pittsburgh he eventually lost control of the waist during the compulsories, 2023 Arnold it is. Last but not least is the most muscular pose. Now this is by far his best pose and he looks great every year. Even in 2021, his legs look better now. It's clear to me that 2023 is the leanest based on this pose. He doesn't have the same fullness as in the other three versions, but it's not like he's flat. It's just the least full between these four versions. And once again, I like his legs the most at that show. Upper body, his earlier versions look the biggest since his arms were indeed bigger earlier in his career, but I wouldn't be able to rank these poses right here. Two small differences. Now, in conclusion, the first thing I'm able to say is that his 2021 Arnold Classic version is not his best. Indeed, when it comes to the upper body, I believe it's the best. He had the best midsection, his arms were at their biggest, and his back was weaker but still good. However, when we factor in the lower body, I believe that puts that version in fourth place actually. Again, especially since Nick Walker already has small legs and with the versions where his legs are considerably bigger than at that show. Now, before the 2025 season, I always thought 2022 Olympia was his best, and indeed he was so big and full at that show, but also probably the least conditioned. Now, it doesn't sound good, he was still one of the driest on that stage that year, but compared to his other versions in this matchup, is the least hard version. Now, if we ignore the problems he had with the midsection at times at the Pittsburgh Pro, I would say that is clearly his best ever version. His legs were the biggest, his back was the best, his front lat spread was improved, so I wouldn't argue too much against it. But if we're talking in terms of the least amount of weaknesses, Nick Walker's best versions remain either the 2022 Olympia or 2023 Arnold. And to be honest, based on this video, that 2023 Arnold version is the best all around. Such a shame they gave the win to Samson Dauda at that show, but I digress.